Hello and welcome, Lynx here, and yes, today we continue with Gokigen na Schmetterlinge. Let's see how our little tennis club develops, how our relation with a certain woman develops, maybe. Let's see. Just got a message from Brunhild. She will be a few minutes late, but she's already out of the underground. What? I informed everyone. Our whole group, 10 out of 11 children. We met up on this Sunday for a small goodbye. What? What goodbye? The plan was for the group to visit the butterfly house. And after that, meet with all the parents at the restaurant. Hayden walked up to me, probably sensing my mood. "They'll be in good hands," she said, knowing it wasn't about what she said. What? What's this sentence supposed to mean? They will be in good hands. The two of us worked to make sure of that for the past several months. Her words calmed me because of how she said them. It doubled. Her voice, her eyes, her mouth ever so slightly smiling at me when she finished. It was just to say she was here, with me, for this goodbye. What goodbye? Brunhild, Magnar, and Dagrun. The first three children that joined the club many years ago. Oh, when after coaching for other clubs, I was just establishing myself as an owner of my own tennis school. Their parents were almost like friends to me by now, and I followed their development over so many years. And now, they were becoming too old for what we did. They needed a different coach to continue training as older kids, and they needed more of their peers to play with. And I really wanted for them to transfer as a group. So I've started to set the transfer in motion, culminating in a lot of calls, paperwork, and calling in favors. And for Hayden, usually helped out with every aspect of the club life by now. For this one, she mostly just took training duties off me when I had to work or meet someone regarding the move. In the end, it worked out very well. I was able to get my second choice of a new home for the three of them, and they would start in their new club next month. And so today, I'll say her, Brunhild say hello when she arrived. The reality of the moment was sinking in. I was happy, but I also knew that they were with us the last time as butterflies. The short walk from meeting point to the butterfly house in the nearby park was full of chatter between the kids. Me and Hayden were mostly quiet, but then as we were walking, she hinted at the group of the three kids who were leaving. You know what? This is sort of interesting as well. Well, I mean, I bet it's, well, over here, definitely good for the kids that will be moving on. And I do realize now how I was sort of screwed up by my club when I was still training football, because initially for 4 years I was in an older group, and then it was decided by, like, I'm not exactly sure, if it was either the owner of the club or even freaking owner of the league who decided that all of us who were in the older group were to move to our age group, right? And that screwed us over. Because obviously you go to a lower level. And you know, one or two people going to a lower level doesn't necessarily mean the lower level will go up. But, you know, I would say because you are better, you become Or more like your growth is way slower. So yeah, I got screwed over with that, definitely. And eventually, well, that group made me quit. Anyway, I would say over here they are doing the good thing. Because they are moving them up, not down. I mean, I would say, I'm saying that that's definitely a good thing. Anyway. I was kicked down a few levels. That was the problem. I smiled, looking at their body language, as it was quite obvious to me and her since some time that Dagrun was quite fond of Magnar. She was the one who was most interested in the details of the transfer, not wanting to lose the opportunity to be seeing him regularly. Ooh. All three of them were very sweet and I would miss them dearly. And I was determined to keep in touch, and if they had a significant match, take the butterflies to see them play and cheer them on. Not just for me, but also for the kids. That they know their friends are still their friends. And that we care for them even when they have to move on. Now jump! Raiden said, taking pictures for of our girls as we reached our destination. And several others, including one with all of us together, taken by a passerby. I asked for the favor. It was my first time after many years in the butterfly house. There was a guided tour which we didn't take, as we just wanted to see the butterflies on our own. And after we've seen everything, Raiden is intent on buying everyone tiny butterfly pins to remember this day. Her enthusiasm was even enough for the three now teenagers to wear them. I almost want to thank them for showing team spirit, but stop myself because I believe they genuinely did it not out of a sense of obligation, but because they want to make this a true team time. Nice. Must be nice. Later on, we met up with the parents, had lunch, and one by one, or sometimes in groups, people left to finish the day in their own ways. There was an almost official part to the lunch, where we were saying goodbye, and we exchanged goodbye presents. I was expecting this to be a very emotional day, and that's why we have had our club goodbye and final words at the butterfly house. That way we could say our individual goodbyes to the teenagers as a club. And then, as a larger group, have smaller individual goodbyes as people were leaving, which helped to spread a lot of the intensity of the moment. But when Brownhild, Magnhar, and Dagrun and their parents decided to leave as a group, I had to hold on with everything I had. For the last time, the three oldest kids called the younger ones into a circle. And that's not to be inconsiderate of other restaurant guests. Whispered the butterfly motto one final time together, like they were doing in training. Raiden could not hold back her tears in that moment, and was immediately consoled by Brunhild's mother, who she befriended very quickly after joining as a coach last year. And even though we have many times stressed that we'll do get-togethers, the first one right at summer's end, after everyone has had a chance to get settled back in their daily school lives, it was still a very emotional day altogether. And I was very happy about that. Because we had not just the kids, but also the parents showing us our importance in their children's lives. Which I was infinitely thankful for. And so, mixed in with the feelings of having to say goodbye, I was also proud of what we were able to create for everyone. To earn trust from parents. Would never not feel humbling. In the end, Raiden and I were the only ones left in the restaurant. It was so nice, Raiden said to acknowledge the situation and my mood. Yeah, I said, very clearly unable to continue speaking, and I got overwhelmed by all the memories of the freakies that have rushed into my consciousness. She sensed it and took a deep breath, almost as if telling me to do the same, and that it's all the best it could have been. I'll have to go. I still have some papers to finish for the grant application. Do you want to stay a bit longer? She has given me the option. Thanks, I'll stay a bit and then go. I said because it somehow felt right to be the last to leave. And I wanted to just stay for a little longer. Alright, take care then. See you on Monday. She said, making an almost imperceptible move towards me to put her hand on mine. But mentally pulled back and reached for her wallet on the table. Before silently waving goodbye. They'll be in good hands. Raiden's words echoed in my mind. I smiled. They'll be in good hands. I thought, taking a deep breath. Finally ready to leave the restaurant. It was so nice. Both of Raiden's words kept surfacing in my mind. She is so right. Huh. Our training camp took place around 100 kilometers northeast of Salzaguia. Saporenz, Freishima, Yokoheim, Dresdokio. I see what you've done there. Raiden researched and booked the place. It had great tennis courts, including 2 indoor courts. And there was a lake nearby, as well as hiking trails. Raiden also organized a small bus, including a driver, and so Saturday morning we all set off. The butterflies are on the road! She pronounced happily when the kids stopped waving to their parents as we were leaving our meeting point behind. It was often the case that during training camps, parents of the kids came with us, stayed in the same hotel. What? They did? Wow, okay, that's completely a foreign thing for me. And made their own plans during the day, joining us in the evening for dinner. For now that I think about it, there was one camp where my parents were at the place for a day. And that because it was actually my mom who sort of knew the owners of the place that we went to the camp to. Yeah. A football camp again. Now that I think about it, it was also my last camp with the older group. Anyway. But some training camps I was specifically requesting parents to not join, if at all possible. This one was set up for the first time so that no parents would come, and we're very happy that everyone had agreed. Yeah! It was the 2 of us and 8 kids. And since Brunhild, Magnhar, and Dagrun didn't go to this camp anymore. Now it was Eodwald and Gunhild who were the oldest kids. Okay. And we encouraged them to fill the role that was left open. We're here! The camp started out with an afternoon training session right after we arrived. We then let everyone settle into their rooms and organize themselves. Before going to dinner and spending some time in the evening playing cards together. We played a new game I bought for this trip, one that allowed 10 people to be involved. It turned out to be simple enough for everyone, as it was mostly about card collecting. And after us coaches had said it was time for bed, Edwald and Gunhild helped the other butterflies with their evening routines. The first full day was very nice as well. We did our whole planned training program and had time for other fun activities too. This place looks so nice, by the way. The second day we had perfect training weather, as it was a bit overcast, so the units weren't as physically demanding. After breakfast on our third day, when we were already settled in, we left it up once again to Edward and Gunhill to make sure the other 6 younger kids were ready. This time for our hike. Yeah, it was one of our special activities to break the routine of training. In 2 days we'd have a swimming afternoon. Oh no. I would be left out. I can't swim. Where we'll go to a nearby lake. Hreidun and I have prepared some surprises, such as booking an ice cream workshop where the children could make their own ice cream flavor. Yeah. And as part of that swimming afternoon, we'd also be renting boats. What the heck? This camp sounds so cool. We waited patiently in front of the hotel for Gunhild, Edwald and the rest of the butterflies. The two would check their backpacks and help them with putting on sunscreen. Sun cream. Water bottles filled, shoelaces properly tied, so that we'd be ready to go. Have I said that she's a beauty? I think I did, but she is. They came slightly late, and we set off to the top of the hill of a temple. If all went well, we would get back just before lunch, and then train the rest of the day. Alright, snug break! Hreidun said, and the kids sat down on the benches inside the temple. I went on to see the view. The small town of Klein Xiomi stretching out in the distance. 15 minutes? Hreidun suddenly came up to me. At first I didn't. Yeah, let's give them 15 minutes, yeah. Should be easy to make it in time for lunch. Thank you. I said, not really knowing why. She smiled at this slightly nonsensical response. I made an apologetic gesture as to say, you know what I mean. She smiled even more as if to say she did and gently put her hand on my shoulder for but a second before leaving. It's the view, it's just... I said, still looking into the distance. And her hand's inadvertent touch almost burning. Oh, did she even realize? Yeah. I heard her stop. Perhaps she... I turned to her to smile and caught her just looking up from her head. She smiled as focused attention on the subject of our surroundings, nodding her head at the landscape all around us. She didn't say anything, but from her face I could read she understood what effect it had on me. I've always loved lookout points high above, and she already knew that about me. I even felt she was encouraging me to take it as much as I could now. And so... I looked at the open view again, to acknowledge the beauty in front of us. None of the children seemed to be affected by it, looking perhaps just once at the landscape, before joining the others in conversation. Still, I was happy they were understanding of this kind of weakness of mine. Yeah. While I was taking the view, I overheard a conversation happening behind me. Can I put this leaf into the happiness book? Alfred, our youngest girl, asked. Of course. Hreidun said, reaching the backpack she had put to the side. The Butterfly's Happiness book was something Hreidun came up with around Christmas? If we ever had our own place for a club, this would be a kind of open corkboard. But since we only rented and carrying a corkboard was not feasible, Raiden bought and repurposed a foldable business presentation board with pockets from card collection albums to serve that purpose. She told the children to draw her a picture of what makes them happy, and she put it into one of the card pockets. And we always took it with us whenever we went on trips like this. Especially now, as we need to get used to our three big butterflies, as we call them, no longer being with us. Oh my memories! It was nice to have the little pieces of happiness still be with us. Having waited as not to interrupt her moment with Alfred, I have tears in my eyes. I smiled and whispered in Raiden's direction as she put away the backpack, the leaf in one of the pockets of the board. So cute! Kawaii! She silently said, glancing at Alfred as she rejoined the group who were sharing snacks. I took a deep breath. Raiden went to quickly make sure the kids were alright, and soon I heard her coming back up. She smiled as she was coming closer. Talk to me. The breeze is so nice, she said, changing the mood from reflective to cheerful. It is, yeah, I said without continuing. I didn't really know what to do, okay? Still being somewhat affected by how pretty everything was and how great a time everyone seemed to be having. You are way too smitten, Raiden said with a genuine happy smile, the immediacy of her response hinting at her meaning the same view. You'd be too, I said when suddenly a light breeze made itself noticeable. I instantly saw Raiden realize this as she took a deep breath and made a pose as to let it cool her as much as possible. I couldn't help but stop and recognize how nice it felt in this heat. The flowing air around my neck and on my hands. And Raiden. The breeze even played with her hair, a few strands floating around. Like little snakes. How dare! Don't compare her to snakes, no! I said, having switched to a light-hearted tone as a way to finally be able to match hers. Immediately, her face lit up with a playful smile as well. What? Those two strands of her hair, look, they are moving like little snakes. Eventually, she turned to where the kids were gathered. He said they look like snakes, what the heck? She paid, while exaggerating being upset, pointing at her hair in the breeze. Yeah, like snakes! Some of the kids were saying, and two of the girls with similar hair joined in, standing next to her trying to replicate the effect. One of them said, and the rest followed. Or now. All now, sure. Alright, now as promised we have matchups. Raiden said to the children the next day, when training resumed as normal, as she quickly ran her hands through the corners of her eyes. More often than not these days, I saw her make those quick hand motions whenever she finished saying the motto with the kids. Just like now. Matchups was a format we used to let the kids experience competitive play. Usually 1 hour long, they would set up their own pairings and play against one another. Singles or doubles, it was up to them to decide. And up to them to keep score. The bigger kids usually took the lead and assigned matches and teams. We had 3 courts reserved for us. So it had to be 1 doubles at least. This meant that at the start they had a choice of 2 singles and 1 doubles. Oh, I'm so good at maths. Or 2 doubles matches. Yeah, I mean, I said at least 1 doubles. Over the course of that 1 hour, they would play 3 or 4 matches. And our rule was at least 1 doubles match for everyone. The scoring of the matches was also very simplified. Probably not like the usual way, right? A match was a single set of a best of 7 games. No second serve and no tiebreak, and no advantages in a deuce. The kids organized themselves and started playing. I found a spot in the shade and observed them. I was waiting for Raiden to come back because we would sometimes discuss the players and exchange notes, so to speak. Towards the end of the training camp, maybe on the second to last day, I want to hand the children a short evaluation with some ideas on how to improve. And help the... Shouldn't they have those notes, like, specifically for the camp and not after the camp? Just saying. And help them identify their strengths in play and use them. I think Raiden could easily do it as well at this point of her involvement. But she always told me that it was better than when I did it. She would keep training with the rest of them when I would call each player separately for a short chat on the side. I usually did this quarterly and this seemed a great time to do the summer evaluation. I was looking forward to it. Acknowledging their progress and helping them face new challenges. And hearing them... Hey there, Raiden appeared coming from the back, probably the equipment storage room. I talked to the maintenance girl and she said number 4 is free for the next 2 hours. She said, and at first I didn't understand. Question mark? The free courts 1, 2 and 3 were sufficient for the kids, so... So if you'd like, maybe we can... She said, racket in hand. Oh, yeah. Let's do it, yeah. I've not played with a grown-up since... ever. Raiden finished my thoughts to say it was the same for her. Indeed, I rarely got to play anymore. And even though we both had our other activities, such as Raiden having swimming and me often going cycling, for tennis there needs to be another person, a partner. It's not really meant to be done alone. Unless you have a wall you can hit to... Anyway. Alright, here's your racket then. She said, handing me my racket, which she took obviously with all that in mind. We took a handful of tennis balls and headed to the court. We're also playing... Raiden excitedly waved at some of the kids who looked at us, but quicker as she might have distracted them and gestured them to continue. I just smiled because if she hadn't done it, I was just about to wave at the kids myself. And Raiden, she was so... I really couldn't find the words! Even at the very beginning, when I first met her, applying for the job. There was something I felt from the way she took to the kids when we set up a test lesson. To her coaching style, and how interested she was in long-term goals and individual planning. And thinking about all the work we then were able to start on as a team that I would not be able to do myself. Work that really is helping us now. It really was true. Whenever we were together, there were so many club matters to discuss and work on. There was almost no realistic time in which we could play just for fun. So a free court like this, at the same time which the kids are doing matchups, it never happened before. And even if it did, would it even cross our minds? If we weren't here, in this situation? Because for all our talk of wanting the children to feel the joy of tennis, it would be good to show them that we too really do love playing. Just so. I took the ball and served as I would in a warm-up. Am I supposed to click this? No. Raiden returned with a soft shot placed a bit to the right as to get us moving around the court. Poof. I reached the ball and with my racket placed at an angle, slowed it down while directing it to the left again. Whoa, that's high. Redoing broke her movement, changed direction to catch the shot, and answered with a high ball to the far end. And smart. I rushed big, but it was too far to accurately hit it, so I lobbed it back roughly to the far center. I positioned myself to the center as well, expecting a long shot. Craven slowed down to time the shot and hit the power forehand straight across the field. I returned with a backhand of my own, smiled similar strength to the left again. I made a move to the right, expecting the same shot. Oh, you! But she sliced the ball, dramatically reducing its speed and range. I was forced to rush to the net and had so much speed that I instinctively played a cross shot at a high angle to likely end the rally. But Raiden was expecting me to do it, accelerated all out and managed to reach the ball almost with the tip of her racket. But with enough time tried to place the ball towards the end lines. There was no way for me to catch the ball and I just looked at it bounced. "Okay, in?" she asked. "Don't know," I said, because I probably had to blink at exactly the time the ball bounced. I blinked. "Yeah, I don't know either," she said calmly. And with that we continued. Since we didn't play much, the final shot was just something to know for the one who shot it. Whether it was good rather than whether it was a winning shot. I took out a ball and held it up as I was making my way to the serving position. This was tell her I'll be going again. I just assumed whoever had the ball ready would serve. We had 5 balls and at one time or another they'd end up in the net or at the far ends of the field that would have to be collected by us. And then we'd go again. After about 5 more minutes of similar warm-up play, we played with casual That was a warm-up! We played with casual pace, not counting points. However, we somehow naturally ended up using 4 balls in a round of play, where both of us would have 2 serves. And after that, we'd collect the balls again and almost reset the play. It was then almost always clear who won the shot and even the round. And we'd call it with in or out when the last shot that wasn't returned happened. It's a good system. I suggest we're collecting balls for the next round. I emphasized the last words as to let her know this wasn't something I knew or played before. "It is." She replied back in a similar tone that let me know this was apparently something that we just made up on the spot right now. I almost couldn't but laugh with happiness and saw her smile in a kind of pleasant disbelief as well. We must have played about half an hour at that point when I started to notice how our movements on the court changed. I'd been properly warmed up and was able to place shots harder and save more balls. Whoa, 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 whoa. I noticed Raiden also moving in a very smooth rhythm, fluidly changing direction. The breaks in the game when we needed to collect the balls were almost a thing to just get over with, so we'd be back to hitting. "Drinks?" asked at the next opportunity and Raiden nodded. I was always playing with one eye on the kids and I saw her do the same. Now we both looked in that direction. Gunhild waved us and Raiden smiled back, while signaling her to continue playing and keeping an eye on the smaller kids. They focused on their own match. We started another round and within minutes and how our play has changed. It was as if reduced to its essence. We didn't even say in or out anymore. Instead of exchanging notes or barely perceptibly letting one another know it was out. There was no need to say things. 5 more minutes in, I found myself not even knowing if we were at the end of the round or not. I just found myself serving or I saw her serve and now I couldn't even remember who had the served last. Nice! As they call it, of a zone. As if snapping out of the deep sleep, I realized where I was. My hands gripping the taped up racket, my arms moving to hit the ball, and my legs carrying me to the exact position I wanted to be. I shot a topspin deep into her zone. And Raiden ran after it, running good millimeters above the net, sending me to the opposite side, chasing it. Yeah, I mean, why do I not do this in tennis? It's literally hit the ball where the opponent is not standing. There is nothing more to it. I would make the return, but I wouldn't be in an optimal position for anything that would come next. I almost felt like she knew it too, and was counting on it. I caught the ball and returned it, placing it with precision in the left corner. But I took a bit more risk, slowing it down very slightly so that she could just about make the shot if she disadvantaged herself as well, to mirror the shot she made before. I then ran to the opposite side and setting cross-court shot, which she did with a slight spin, so I had to change direction somewhat. And for I felt like I knew what she meant to achieve with every shot. It was still almost impossible for me to gain an advantage, since she seemed to be able to see through my intentions just as well. It was. I gasped, so trying to get to a drop shot Raiden just played. Up, and I even managed to put a spin on it. This sent her running to the net. I waited for but a millisecond to confuse her and reduce her thinking time. I then rushed towards the center, hearing her hit the ball. I looked up and it was flying towards the left, and with me being in a good position for it thanks to the move from before, I already knew my next play. I caught up with the ball and let it bounce and stayed in the air slightly longer than usual. Van Dub gave her the cue that I would be hitting the ball hard for the long shot across the field, and I heard her rush towards the back. And that's when you play it super lightly. I returned the ball very hard, sending it her way with constable speed. I then positioned myself on the line, my only vulnerability being a hard slice drop shot, which she could perhaps attempt to do. Her however hit a power forehand off the line straight in my direction. I did the same, and it was almost as if we have agreed on letting one another catch our breaths. The shots were not entirely predictable, but were enough to slow down the game that was getting intense. Within a few shots, I felt my strength get back, and straight away hit the ball with a spin to the side, opening the game for the next move. I got a hard cross-court which I rushed to get, and set her up perfectly for a volley. It was. As long as this rally has been, it would have been dishonorable for her to not hit this with all her strength and end the exchange. I knew that my position would give her this advantage, and I tried my best to make the ball as unpleasant as possible. And then I blindly ran to the right corner as I saw her at the end of her jump, about to smash the volley. On instinct, I feinted a change of direction and then continued to run. Was it? Whee! I looked up and the ball was high up, but on my side and with perfect timing. I let out an exasperated sound as I hit the ball, sending it high one more time, hopefully to the end of the court. She would have the chance for another volley, but I sent it to the left side rather than the center, so she'd have slightly less time to decide. She turned the best possible way, but I was already back in position. I went on the attack, sending Raiden from one side of the court to another. She, however, managed to defend by sheer speed, and the second ball she even returned straight at me, breaking the flow of my offense. I thought I had a little and saw no option to continue my attack. She was just too quick in that position. I was going to be able to manage her on reaction time only for the next few shots, perhaps giving me an opportunity to counter the momentum. I returned with a mild but well-placed shot that would normally have bought me some time. Hayden, however, played a hard slice that made me rush to the net again, and I immediately understood what she aimed for. I don't. Planning for 2 shots in advance, I was convinced she wanted me on the right side at the end, while she would be far back. From there, she would play a full smash to the far left at a low angle. It would be impossible for me to reach, and the only chance was to counter immediately on the next shot. I moved to the net and slammed my racket into the ground as I approached. This allowed me to get within centimeters of the net and move the ball over to the other side. Because of the rotation of the ball from her slice, the chance of deliberately hitting the top of the net with that effect was significantly higher. The ball. It moved at a seemingly impossibly slow pace, jumping over the net. Whoa. And it was then that I saw red dust in hit my eyes, as Hayden defended at the last millisecond by sliding her racket under the ball. I'm sorry! I heard her exclaim, but did not have the capacity to process it. The ball jumped back to my side, softly, but I was only able to guess where it was. The stinging pain of clay in my eyes. I saw something yellow bounce to the left of me and on instinct moved there, launching the ball high in the air at an angle with all my strength. At that very moment, I ran straight to my water bottle at the side of the court. Should probably need to let the ball bounce first, so I had plenty of time. I grabbed the water bottle and immediately rushed back into position, splashing water in my eyes as I was moving. I'd already heard the bounce, and a second later threw the bottle to the back, my eyes full of water. I opened them just as Hayden was in position to return. My shot had been placed well, and she was all the way in the back. And me being where I was the best for what was coming, and... She played more or less her only option, a long, hard shot to the corner. Able to see the ball clear again, I returned with similar force. She moved to play it back, almost taking out some of the energy of the shots to give her time to think or process the situation. I didn't understand it that a very second, but when the ball hit my racket and I almost inadvertently played a hard but very obviously placed shot, I realized what she must have seen as well. This single rally. How long has it been going on? I could try to think, but I couldn't remember who even served. Oh! I gasped as I saw Hayden sleep when getting ready to run after my shot. It was almost a classic case of loss of concentration. The ball. It bounced high off the field and... Ah! I heard Hayden as she summoned all her energy and ran after an almost certainly lost ball. The only way she could get it now was to disregard the fence. Oh, please don't. I moved away to prepare for the low shot that would come if she would be willing to let herself slam to the fence for that shot. She did, didn't she? There was a sound of pain from Hayden as she crashed hard in the fence, paying for the low shot return that kept the ball in play. The shot took some time to get to me, and I watched Hayden rushing back into position. I played the ball back with a regular spin, almost in panic. If they weren't gripping the rackets, my hands would be shaking. The image of her body smashing the fence. Was she alright? Was she pain? The next few shots she seemed to move slightly less sharply, but she was still playing, still making efforts to place balls and force me into a bad position. I was trying to wait patiently, countering her play advantages while managing my own strengths reserves. It must be in another 30 seconds or even more than that this continued, still in the same rally. At this time, I didn't want to make a mistake and lose a rally this long. Not because I would be the one to lose, but because the rally, this particular rally, would end. And I would lose. This Raiden who was playing with me now. I had never felt more connected to her. I had never felt her kindness, grace, and beauty the way I felt it now. Her every move, the way she placed shots, they carried in them everything she was, they expressed her completely. We both continued to play with effort slowly affected by exhaustion. More and more I felt like whatever else I would try she would see it coming. And I was able to read her place, ready and countering. Only to be met with a counter of her own. It almost didn't even feel like I was playing anymore. The moves I knew, the motions I recognized, they were not the game. They were just me and her. Alone. In the world. Every shot I received on my racket, as if leaving burn marks on me, reverberating through my whole being. As I felt the body and hands that gave it that force, speed, angle, and rotation. And every ball I returned, carrying in it everything that I ever wanted to tell her. A physical manifestation of my feelings, being offered to her, hoping they... Meep! Suddenly I heard a sound that sent a jolt through me. In an instant I felt the heat of the sun, the coarse texture of the clay, and the soft flow of air as I ran towards the ball and played on instinct. My wristwatch. It sent to let me know the training unit will be finished in 5 minutes. No doubt Raiden heard it too, and out the periphery of my view I saw her change her posture as she too realized. Time to finish. Because no matter what was happening in this game, to not give the children our full time when it came to it would even drink everything we stood for. Without thinking, as the ball bounced off my side, I accelerated even more and stretched out, not my racket but my hand. I caught the ball in my left hand, sliding on the clay as it came to a stop. I heard Raiden drop her racket and sink down as to finally relax her body. It was over. I looked at her and despite almost feeling like being woken up from a fever dream, I saw her smile with relief and happiness. And for a second I thought I saw her lips say, "Thank you." I held the ball in my hand, determined to not let go, as I made my way to collect everything and get back to the kids. Crane was in the back, getting the balls on her side and putting the racket into my bag to speed things up. I wanted to say something to indulge what had just happened, but it was alright. However, as we then made our way to our usual spot carrying our rackets. "Is that the one?" Raiden asked, looking at the ball in my hand. It is, yeah. I replied, almost instinctively handing it to her, feeling she wanted to hold it too. She then stopped holding out her hands carefully as if to make extra certain she would not drop it. It was like if it had dropped, it would have bounced a second time. Which was completely nonsensical, but somehow, in that situation, it made perfect sense, and as I was carefully placing the ball in her hands, she closed them even before I could pull mine away. And for a second, she held my hands like they were a part of that small treasure the ball represented. But there was no time to even grasp the situation because... "What's that?" one of the kids shouted as they saw us do this unusual exchange. It's a special ball. I shouted back. Oh, it's a special ball! I shouted back, smiling at Raiden, who couldn't contain her smile either. I pulled back, leaving it in her possession as she turned to the butterfly, saying, "Torrent, I kept it in the game for half an hour!" She shouted excitedly, earning various sounds of awe and respect. I nodded, confirming her words, although realistically we may have played the rally for about 20 minutes. But especially for our youngest, the idea of half an hour was easier to understand as something extraordinarily long in tennis. Alright, don't forget to sweep and we meet at the usual place. Raiden continued, and we left the children to get the drag mats and clean the courts. I then saw Raiden put the ball into the side pocket of her tennis bag. I'll keep it here, she said barely audibly. Thank you. I said so that only she could hear it. Even thanking her made no logical sense. It was just something to say, to acknowledge my appreciation for her caring for what that ball symbolized. We then waited in silence until the children came back and continued the day's activities. As we waved goodbye to the last of our children being picked up from our arrival spot. It was so great, Raiden said. It was. I agreed, breathing in a strange sense of loss. Sometimes, Raiden said suddenly, I feel like I'd like to watch them grow. She was trying to say something and I just... Longer? I said. The memory of our 3 teenagers living was still somewhat fresh and for happy still. The hole they left in my heart was something that stayed with me since. And only made me want to create an even more caring environment for our players. Which then inevitably always took my thoughts in the direction of... I wish... Raiden uttered silently, breaking my train of thought. I wish they remember the time with us. Not just tennis, but also the memories of the butterflies. To have that as something that will last them into the future. She said. Her words made me realize just how much she now meant to everyone in the club. Like so often making me stop dead in my tracks. And be disbelieved how someone like her could have ever appeared in my world and hold dear other things which I do too. I think, there is nothing that had more meaning to me than giving them something where they can just be themselves. I said to continue her thoughts. If they learn to... I was searching for the words for a while. Hey, will you just play? I said, knowing that she would know. Just play, she said, and wanted to add something, but then so her bus could be seen arriving in the distance. There were perhaps 20 or 30 seconds until we'd have to part ways. And I just wanted to talk to her more. I didn't want her to leave. And I didn't want to just go home anymore. I was almost upset at the situation. Because it felt so wrong and hurtful to just get separated. Why can't it just be? Her voice, the setting sun, her name, kindest. If not now, briefing, dizzy, the future. What if she doesn't? Our age, her skin, truly cares, her favorite food, gentle, lose everything, simple words, her eyes, the 2 of us here. I think that was the one song. Would you like to meet today evening, or now, or I just need to drop off my things and change, so I said quickly, not really choosing words consciously. I I can. I'll be quiet, quickly. Where would be? She was saying, not even finishing her words in order to say everything before the bus came. Katsuragi-Platz! At the fountain. I immediately said the first thing that came to my mind. The obvious meeting spot in the city, seeing the bus pulling up at the stop. Raiden would need to move towards the stop right now, and I immediately glanced at my watch. 5? I said quickly, let her know she should go. 5! Let's go! She replied, looking back at me for a moment as she ran to catch the bus with her suitcase. It was too short for me to even slightly wave. I only managed to whisper, bye, hoping she would understand from the way my lips moved. Yes! It's a date, guys and guys. 3 years late. 3 years later! If you're enjoying our live feed just now, as we watch some of the highlights on replay, we're about to crown the next Schmetterlinge National Mixed Doubles Champions. That's right, and it's going down to the last set. The defending champions of 2 years, Harada Yamauchi, are faced with, how should we call them? Well, they are certainly the prize of the tournament, unseeded, unranked, and I say mere in quotes, winners of the nationwide qualifiers, which has earned them a spot in this bracket. And it was a spot they have utilized to the fullest, beating all challengers in their path, and now fighting for the title and an automatic place in the upcoming Great Smash in Italia. Indeed, you're looking at Hreidun and Torvald Kimura, 2 players with no groundbreaking accolades to their names, whose best professional results have been achieved almost 10 years ago. Wow. And yet, here and now, they have held their own even against their final opponents, the reigning national champions, Signeveld, Harada, and Greifjork Yamauchi, who themselves are at least 1 level up from the rest of the competitors in this tournament. You can see on the board, after losing the first set, the Kimuras came back in the second, ultimately dragging the considerably younger champions, who are ranked 11th in the world, mind you, all the way to the third set. Also, let's not leave this one out. Well-trained, Torvald is well into his 40s, and though his wife is quite a bit younger, she's still the oldest female competitor in this tournament. But then there is that thing of the two of them just working so well together, an undeniable fact. Exactly! The story is that they got together running at the new school. Occasionally you will see shots of a few children in the crowd. That's their butterflies, as they call them. Let's go. The students who are here with their parents to support the coaches. I actually had a talk yesterday with Hreidun Kimura, who told me that one of the drivers of this incredible success that they are experiencing now is that they just want to show to their students how much fun it is to play tennis. And I mean, even now, I got tears in my eyes repeating those words the way she said them. And they could go on to achieve even more if they defeat Harada and Yamauchi. The Great Smash awaits, and who knows what could happen there. But all is not over, and we see them preparing as the break comes to an end. What will be the key to success in this last set of the team? I'd say for the champions, I think I switched voices incorrectly at some point. I'd say for the champions, it's quite clear. They need to play as sharply as in the first set, and wear their opponents down, definitely force an endurance match of sorts, where sooner or later they will got the upper hand. And for the Kimuras, they should not overthink anything and keep doing what they are doing. There are moments when they get completely absorbed in their play, communicating blindly and playing as one, so to speak. For me, this has been the most interesting aspect of the game, the ability to anticipate especially each other's moves and have high, nigh perfect positioning. I see almost no wasted movements. One of them is always in a position to get off a good shot, and that compensates for the slightly less zippy style. To give her credit for, in short bursts, Hreidun can still move with the best of them, but in the end she's no Sinwill Harada, her counterpart who was a very good sprinter before she moved to tennis. Likewise, Torvald can absolutely play his hard shots, but ultimately he's no match for a focused Greifjork Yamauchi, whose singles career was definitely not defined by his uncompromising serves. So at least on paper, this match should have been over a long time ago.
and I hate to make it this simple, but the question will in fact probably be this. Can the Chimeras keep up their almost peaceful focus and harmony, or can Harada and Yamauchi power their way to victory by playing to their strengths and as individual players?
Alright, my bet is on the Chimeras then.
Really? Why? You like their Team of Destiny story, I bet?
Yeah, I do actually, but I just looked them in the court. It's so...
No, of course, like their, the occasional smoochy-woochy, shall we say?
Well, alright, yeah, I do. They keep holding on just that little bit longer, or she gives him a little peck on the cheek. It's sweet, okay?
I mean, I can't say I don't understand, obviously.
Well, for your sake, I hope so. Besides, I've always found mixed doubles had a bit of flirting into them by default given the right. Two people, wouldn't you say?
Not that you are giving me much choice there, but... Well, then are you saying you bet on love? Is that it?
Hey, what kind of tone was that? Bet on love? Be nice, but yes. To your question, I mean.
What we are trying to say, I guess, is that never mind the story of them coming from nowhere or them still reaching high levels of performance in their almost Ottoman career stages. It is, first and foremost, for me anyway, the way they exemplify the spirit of mixed doubles that has made them such a joy to watch.
I couldn't agree more. Seeing two people who are so vastly better as a team than they've ever been individually, it's just...
I know where you're going with this, so don't you say it's love!
I mean,
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we should use this rare moment when she's speechless. I mean, he's speechless because the voices, to return to actual commentary as we now see that everything is...
Okay,
as she is speechless to return to actual commentary, as we now see that everything is almost ready for the final set to begin.
Rude! Again! But yeah, the story, if you will, is not over yet, and it doesn't happen in the commentary box, but out of there on the court. And all the teams need to do is play as who they truly are until their ending is revealed. Reidun and Thorvald Kimura, Singwild Harada and Greyforge Yamauchi, their team will be deserving the champions. So let's enjoy the finale!
and so...
The match is now resumed. Great for Yamauchi will serve to Reidun Kimura in the opening game of the third and final set.
Have fun, everyone!
Well... The end. As you can see on the newspaper, our characters have won the match. That's right, they won. How could it be different? I'm so glad they ended together as well. Let's go. Not just playing together, in doubles and so on, but, being together, clearly. That was nice. That was such a nice story. Oh, okay, let's read it. Autumnal expectations. Kyotenberg, August 18th. Zingfield Hareda and Greyfjord Yamauchi will once again be representing Shin Liechtenland at the Great Smash Tournament in L'Italia. Even though they were defeated in the national finals by Heidun and Thorvald Kimura, the Surprise team announced their retirement from the competition due to the happy circumstances. Let's go! Harada and Yamauchi were among the first to congratulate the Kimuras and vote to make use of the opportunity given to them in a short interview conducted earlier today. Their performance at the nationals was inspiring to all of us players, said duo star player Signified Harada, and added that the recent increase in form is no small part thanks to the national champions. The other half of the team, Greyfjord Yamauchi, also mentioned the effect the now reigning champions have had on them. Obviously they were the darlings of the tournament and everyone loves an underdog story, yeah? He acknowledged the increasing popularity the champions enjoyed throughout the tournament, but we've had a mode with Sigvild before the 7th game in the final to keep giving our best and trying to almost disappoint the crowd by beating their favorites, and even though we didn't succeed, this was where we started to focus and discover what our own nature as a team was. Yamauchi concluded expressing once again great admiration for the champions as our interview time drew to a close. Harada Yamauchi's best international result to date is reaching the quarterfinals of the traditional Modroslavian Grand Smash tournament in Bledonetsk 2 years ago. However, if their current performance in pre-tournament matches following their defeat at the national semi to go by, they have the best chance to possibly trophy yet. Ziggler and Harada then concluded the interview by mentioning that ultimately they don't want to overthink their steady rise in performance. We'll see how it all goes in autumn, but for now we just want to enjoy the rest of the summer just playing the game we love, she said. You'll be able to follow all the matches from the Great Smash in L'Italia's capital starting October 25th. With live commentary and analysis from our usual team of experts Underwald, Akashi and Staffenhield Gorafuji. Happy accident! We all know what that means for them. Let's go!
Thank you for playing.
Let's go! Our lovely couple! Am I supposed to click now? I'm kind of afraid to click, I'm gonna lie. I clicked and... Alright. Oh boy! That was a joy to read. What the heck? Gokigen na Schmetterlinge. To be fair, I bet like running... First of all, running such a club, I would say, must be a super joyful thing. It must be a super joyful thing if there is also a second person to run that club with, sort of, right? We also had saying goodbye to the like senior members and so on, which was so heartbreaking. No, it was super nice as well. For it did give me the bad vibes when it comes to myself and my part in football, as you know, because I said what happened. But yeah, then we had the summer camp, which was absolutely lovely. The two had a super nice moment between each other. I was I was a little afraid when she like smashed into supposed wall. But luckily enough, I guess nothing happened over there. And then you are giving me the freaking information. Yeah, they played in a tournament. They absolutely nailed it and won it together. Let's go. Absolutely amazing couple here. Oh, they said also it was 3 years later, so I wonder if they jumped straight to it and for like 3 years tried to get there, or it was like, hey, you know, how about we do it today? Let's join the tournament or something, right? I mean, who knows? One way or another, they sure ended on a high note. Very lovely game of tennis. And, well, as we could read from everything, they clearly ended up together, and that was lovely. That's what I was sort of waiting for to happen, to be honest. Yeah. Anywho, with that being said, the game is of course linked in the description in case you want to go and support the dev yourself. Also, I would obviously appreciate you liking the video if you enjoyed it, of course. You don't have to like it for the sake of liking. If you enjoyed it, consider liking, of course, then. Subscribe if you're new. That's always appreciated. I would love to have you around, obviously. We are playing games, a lot of games, and even more games. Oh yeah, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram in the description as well. For, to be fair, the one where you might want to follow will be especially Twitch, where, I mean, from time to time I drop by to stream Genshin, which obviously eventually you also get on YouTube in a form of VOD. But you know, over there you can find me live, so you know, it's nice to hang around as well. Anywho, with that being said, hope you all have a wonderful day, and hope to see you tomorrow in the next game. Bye bye.